Hello and welcome to New World Comics Podcast, episode 14, I think we just established.
I think so.
I am Buck Berlin, owner-operator of New World Comics. Joined with me is Stephanie Cerny.
What's up?
And with us we have the voice of God, Brad Reed of Nerds to Men fame.
Blessings.
And joining us this week is Jesse Johnston.
Well, hello, Buck. How's it going?
Oh, it's going all right.
And
All right.
Stephanie.
And hi, Stephany.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Thank you for
You're welcome.
acknowledging
I'm sorry.
me.
Hi.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. Can you edit that out? Redo it?
Yeah. All right, let's just start over. No, Jesse, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's Jesse, and I, let's see, I just graduated from college in May.
Ooh.
So, from Oral Roberts University. I used to work here in the shop when I was in high school. Did that for, I don't know how long I did that for.
For a while, yeah.
For a while, and then I stopped working, and then went to school, and then now I'm back. You know,
Yeah.
I'm here, back
Yeah.
in the store.
Yeah, and you were one of my project kids.
A project kid?
Yeah, like, you know, I saw a lot of potential in you, but
Thank you.
you were just so terrified of everything.
Yes, that was a rough time.
A lot of anxiety attacks behind the counter.
Oh, for sure. You know, like
A
how
lot of
you let
shaking,
me get
you
in
know.
front of people and like do the cash register or superhero school.
Yeah.
How you let me do that, I don't know.
I threw you into the deep end on the superhero school, but we'll get to the superhero school stuff towards the end for the store stories. You know, gotta bait everyone and keep them waiting.
Sounds good.
Yep. So, what got you into comics?
Well, my grandpa gave me like a stack of like some Spider-Man comics when I was younger, but I kind of went through those. And then there's a time I went on a trip with my mom and my sister to Iowa, and she was like doing some like school event thing, and I was just kind of bored. So it was at a college campus, and I just kind of walked around, and I went into a store. It was a comic shop, and then went downstairs where they had the old comics, and I found some Spider-Man comics and bought some there, and then read all those, and then when I was home, I looked up on the internet to see if there was a comic shop nearby. I went to Vintage Dock like every other weekend, and I'd buy some old Spider-Man 90s comics, and then I read this issue of Amazing Spider-Man 353 with Darkhawk in it.
Yeah.
The best character ever. And then I started reading Darkhawk, and then so that just kind of expanded it a little bit. And then it was right around the time that Marvel Now happened. And then, issue 700, they're, going to kill off Spider-Man. Sorry, everyone who hasn't read that yet. They're killing off Spider-Man, and they're doing all like the new number ones you could just jump into. And then, so that's whenever I first came into this shop. You're telling us all about the, new starting points to read it, and so that's kind of what got me into comics, and haven't stopped since. And
That's awesome.
yeah.
So would you say Spider-Man is still one of your favorite comics?
Yes, I would. Spider-Man, yeah, I've been reading Spider-Man from 700 on through now, so I have, like over 100. I've been consistently reading Spider-Man for over 100 issues now, so it's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I was getting you ready for the show, I said, so, what were some of your favorite comics when you were younger and just kind of getting into it. And then while you were talking about it, that kind of inspired me to grab some of the stuff that I wanted. So, some of the stuff that, I wanted to talk about, or some of the stuff that I was reading, that kind of stuff. So we'll probably do a quick back and forth here. If you want to show everyone a comic and talk about like what you liked about it or what you liked about the series or that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, and then let's see. Oh, definitely Ultimate Spider-Man. So when I started reading Spider-Man, it was right around Superior Spider-Man, so it didn't have like Peter Parker in it. It was just this, Peter Parker just died, and Dr. Octavius is Spider-Man. So I was like, hey, what's a good like Spider-Man story? So you told me Ultimate Spider-Man, and it was just like. It was a time whenever I was in high school and Peter Parker was in high school in the beginning of the story. He's going through like a lot of the same struggles like any high school guy goes through, the angsty, like weird teenager guy that doesn't know what he's doing with his life. So I started reading that. Then I started reading Darkhawk. And then just kind of going through. It was just like this weird looking character. Like he's just a cool looking character. And I don't know, like everyone kind of makes fun of Darkhawk a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, what about Darkhawk? Like.
He just looks cool. I don't know, like he flies and has like claws and stuff. So it was like a flying Wolverine, maybe is what I thought. But yeah, so I started picking up all those. I actually met Danny Fingeroff, the creator of Darkhawk, whenever I was in high school, and I had asked him to sign issue 25 here and issue 1, and I set it down in front of him, and he was like, "Why do you have this?" It's like, you're just kind of confused, like why some teenager, like 10, 15, or I guess maybe 20 years later was reading Darkhawk, and I was like, I don't know, I just showed up in another Spider-Man comic, so I guess that kind of makes sense. So, but
fun story about like creators. When you find out that that a young person likes this stuff. I ran into at San Diego Comic-Con Ramona Fraden, who co-created Metamorpho, and I walked up to her and didn't realize that she was going to be there. I was like, "Oh my God, you're Ramona Fraden." Did Metamorpho? She was like, "You know who Metamorpho is?" How? I was like, "I love comics," and yeah. And I got a really nice little head sketch from her.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, so to come back on the comics that we liked much younger. One of my very first comics, like from this comic forward, I got comics on a weekly basis from then till still. So Fantastic Four number 361, I got it at a drugstore, and it was the only comic that they had. Like you could see the spot where other comics would have been. It was the only comic, and at the time I'd heard about Fantastic Four and wanted to know more about it. So we went and picked it up, and it didn't disappoint. Dr. Doom, for whatever reason, decided to take one of the kids from Yancey Street and start experimenting on him, and the thing helped out the kids, and the guy's parent, tracked him down and found him, and it was really neat seeing the thing stand up for all these guys who would constantly bully them, and all the stuff that came afterwards that happens with the Yancey Street gang and the thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, the Fantastic Four around the time, like when Marvel Now started, was definitely something that got me into comics a bit more. It started, actually, the first Fantastic Four comic I read was the last issue of Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, which was, I just had no idea what was going on. It was just the most confusing thing. I later went back and read it all, and I was like, okay, and when I got to that final issue, it's like, oh, that makes more sense, because the kids were a bit older at the end of that issue, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. and they're like going through some weird portal thing, and it was just a very complicated. You could just tell 100 issues before then you should have read in order to what's going on. And then I started reading Matt Fraction's Fantastic Four, and then right when Marvel Now started, and that was just like a really fun story.
It's so good because in that, Reed Richards figures out that he needs to go to another dimension for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, they said, I'm going to be gone for 5 minutes. And then, so, you get FF and Fantastic Four at the same time. And
they're running concurrent.
Yes. And that was, a cool thing to do, see, because then, just that it also expanded more of my, reading. Because then, I got the Fantastic Four, I, kind of knew about them because I saw, the movie when I was younger. But then I found out, even about more characters. So, it opened up Inhumans and then Ant-Man and She-Hulk.
Because with the FF, the FF is the team that they all put together to make sure everything was going to be fine for those 5 minutes that they were gone, because Reed knew that something was going to happen and that they wouldn't actually be back for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then it was definitely one of those things where I actually started looking at creators, because the All Reds, seeing that art, and then so whenever I saw them, they did Batman 66 around that time, and then I was I recognize that from Fantastic Four, and then so I started reading that. And then anytime I saw Matt Fraction or the All Reds, that was one of the first things that kind of I started looking at art, the creators and stuff, instead of just Spider-Man. So
right, yeah, because there are a lot of people that when they first get into comics get kind of turned off because one story with their favorite character isn't as good as another one, and they couldn't quite figure out why. But it's all the creative teams behind it. So
definitely true.
Well, yeah. Well, if you're going Fantastic Four there, then I will go the Mark Waid's run of The Flash, which, oh my God. So much of the Flash lore that's being used now comes from this, the use of the Speed Force, the Speed Force generated costumes, and all that kind of stuff that they have been using. Yeah. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, and then that was I remember this one time we were when I was working here, we were pulling on Tuesday night, getting ready for Wednesday, and so I don't remember who it was, but they're just you like Mark Waid, and I was like, I mean, I don't know who that is. They're like, well, you're just reading everything that he's like. I pulled off all the Mark Waid stuff, and because I just like read the the stories, and like it was like Mark Waid Daredevil. I got Green Hornet when he started writing it. I don't know what else he was writing at the time. I was like, oh, Mark Waid. So then that was like another thing. I was like, oh, I need to go find Mark Waid. So then I ended up reading all of it. And there was like, he wrote The Fox or something. Like, wasn't that a story? Yeah. And then I grabbed that, and just anything Mark Waid showed up on. Or then Indestructible Hulk was coming out at the time.
Yeah,
that was such a
he
cool
did that
story.
one too.
And
Yeah.
it was like, they bring out puppies to stop the Hulk from like killing people. So, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, what else do you have for us?
Got that Ultimate Spider-Man. Oh, and then the cool thing about Ultimate Spider-Man, it was just I also met Mark Bagley and had him sign that at the first Comic-Con or comic book convention I went to, and I brought the issue #1 of that, and which I think you actually gave me that for my birthday, the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, and I went with my dad, and it was like a time like he was like, why is my son reading all these comic books? And then so we were standing in line. And I pulled it out of, like, I had, like, an Expanda file with all the comics I wanted signed. And some guy standing behind us goes, holy crap. And then, yeah, he says, holy crap. And then my dad's like, oh, is that actually a cool thing? He's like, yeah, your son has, like, that's, like, an expensive comic. And I was like, see, Dad, it's cool. I was like, in the eyes of these people around me, I am cool.
Someone thinks I'm cool.
Someone thinks I'm cool. And Mark Bagley thought it was a cool thing. And then I had, the Darkhawk issue he signed also. And then, so, yeah, I have that here. And then I think, so yeah, for a while I was just reading like, just pretty much just superhero stories. And then I think the first outside of superheroes, I picked up Trillium by Jeff Lemire, because it was just like, you read half the story and then you flipped it over and you read the other half of the story. It's like, ended up being this like this really cool, like, fantasy, sci-fi, like love story thing. And it was really cool. And then, but then I ended up reading Jeff Lemire's Descenders, which I have here. Which is like, the art in it is like all watercolor and stuff. So like, it's this really cool story. So if you haven't read Descender,
What's the premise of it?
so Descender is, it takes place like really far in the future, and there's a bunch of like there's aliens and stuff, but it takes place after this. It starts off like I think 10 years later after this big event where these robots, artificial intelligence, get mad about how the way that humans have been treating them, and so. They like come and like they just pretty much like kill a bunch of people, and then that's what they're just mad about the way that humans have been treating robots, and then so humans like kind of fight back, and they make it to where like robots are outlawed, but then they find out there's this one robot called Tim 21, and he kind of holds the he has like I guess his makeup is very similar to like the robots that kind of fought back, so they thought he was the key to being able to take control over robots. So, the robots want Tim 21 and the humans want Tim 21 because he's kind of like the key to all this. But at the same time, Tim 21 is just this kid, like the way that he was built was just, he is very much like just a kid. And so he's reacting to the same thing, to everything as like a child would, in this time. And like, so like these different people, he's this innocent person caught in the middle of this really bad situation. And all he really wants to do is find his old best friend and his dog. And throughout this whole thing. So it's like this really big like sci-fi thing going all around him, but it just comes down to Tim 21, his dog, and him trying to find his best friend. It was just a really cool story.
Yeah.
So it's so good.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, back, before I realized that comic shops were a thing, anytime that I wanted to deviate from your Marvel or DC, we pretty much had Image.
Yeah.
And most of that was kind of like knockoff Marvel and DC at the time.
Yeah.
But Marvel came out with Spider-Man 2099, which blew my mind. I was like, why is it 29? Why is it, years in the future like that? And then, it all kind of made sense because, looking at his costume, it doesn't have a spider on it. And they explain, that where some of the similarities come from, and they joke about spider powers that he should have or shouldn't have, or where web fluid should be coming out of, and makes good sense of all that. But yeah, it's kind of really sad because most of the 2099 comics really aren't all that good.
I really loved Spider-Man 29.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2099, and then. The first couple issues of Ghost Rider real fun. The concept behind Punisher was really good.
Doom was pretty good, or at least the few issues I read of Doom. 29 were good.
Doom at first was okay, and then it got amazing towards the end.
Okay.
But like X-Men 2099 was probably the biggest letdown. Like I can't name any good issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like issue 8, they completely redid the team, and then that didn't work out. So then they brought all the other team back, and it was bad.
Was like Wolverine around at all at the time, or did they have any like thing like that, or was it just all the
No,
characters?
like I was thinking, like, man, where's Wolverine in all this? Because he should be around, and like at least in Spider-Man, like a lot of the heroes weren't around, but like there was this cult that worshipped Thor.
Yeah, I remember that. That was so cool.
Yeah, and there was this dude on this hang glider, that was just kind of flying around because this, material that they had could, help you fly. But Spider-Man crashed into it and ruined it. But the like web cape that he has is actually the same material out of that hang glider, so like he can like control fall, like he falls at a different.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's little stuff like that kind of heightens the series, and there were some neat future predictions that Peter David threw in that was like someday we'll just have Doc on a box, like like your minute clinics.
Yeah.
Like he predicted all that business.
So how excited are you for Into the Spider-Verse? Like,
Oh.
what do you think about that?
I'm that first when that first trailer came out. I don't know how many times I watched it. It was just like I just kept watching over and over again. Like the part where just Miles is just kind of falling, and it was so cool because like after like I read all of Ultimate Spider-Man, then once they got to Miles, that was like I don't know, it just kind of stepped up a notch. I love Miles Morales, and that. I don't know, and then like the Spider-Verse comic was just so cool. So like just getting like see like Miles hanging out with Peter, and then like when Gwen Stacy showed up in that second trailer, I was just freaking out. That movie looks so good.
Man, I'm all about Miles' dad. Just get
Right? Oh, and he's just like, tell me you love me.
Yeah.
cover that. Yeah, it's
So
great.
good. And then what else was it? And then like just the artwork of the movie just looks like a comic. It's just like a comic, just like brought to life, alive on the show and on the screen. It looks so good. It's good.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to see like what all the other spiders are. Sorry, I can just talk about Spider-Man all day.
No, yeah, please do. No, like when you say when the Miles got introduced, I thought it was really neat how it was handled, just because they would put him in similar situations to what Peter had when he first started being Spider-Man, and he would use the same exact words. Like he would use the same phrase or same words that Peter said in the same situation, but he would say it differently, and it would have a completely different meaning this time. And it was wow, that's incredibly well done and really neat.
And it's cool, like how he just he deals with family a little bit differently than Peter would. He was like always like, I just can't tell anyone. But then like the stuff with like his mom and stuff, like you go through that and just see like how Miles goes about dealing with friends and family is a bit different than the way Peter would, because like Peter's like no one can know. But then he brings in Genki and he brings in all these people that he actually he wants people to trust him. In the last run he shares his identity with a girl that he likes. He just wants people to know.
Yeah.
Because I think what Peter is different. Like Miles thinks he can't do it all alone, so he definitely because he never he's always had someone kind of around. Like he always looked up to Peter, and he always I think it was like around the time I don't remember what was going down, but he shows up hanging out with like Shield and stuff. So he always had someone there. So I think it was just cool. Like he's a bit. I like him because he just goes out and finds people to be like on his team with him. So
Right.
So
Well, cool. So just because your stack is looking smaller than mine, I'm gonna jump in with a couple of my other
Sounds
picks
good.
from way back when, which I guess I could have transitioned a little bit better from the Spider-Man 2099 into Peter David's X Factor, which on issue 71 they completely redo the X Factor team, and this it's almost Seinfeld-esque because it'll have adventures, but most of the story on this one is everyone trying to open up this prank jar of mayonnaise. Like Jimmy Madrox, rigged up this jar of mayonnaise to not be able to get opened by anyone. So like Polaris and the strong guy who like should be able to get this can't get it, and he put something on there to where the harder you twisted it, the stronger it got. So yeah, it's absolutely worth your time.
The adventures back in the day, jars of mayonnaise. Love
Yeah,
it.
no,
Everything's just too serious nowadays,
but yeah. So, and there's like subplots that go with like Mr. Sinister, and it's a really good issue about how they build a team, and they start building to announcing the like the next issue they're going to publicly announce the team because this is a government sponsored X team.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to show hey, here we are being progressive, here we are putting this team forward, that if anything happens that like the Avengers or Fantastic Four can't cover, these are your guys now. So it was really neat, like behind the scenes kind of thing. How many do you have? 3 there?
I had 3.
Let's see what I
can
have.
talk about other things though.
Oh yeah, like there's anything else to talk about.
There's a couple other.
Yeah, we'll get to those. Let me even out with you on the 3.
Sounds good.
All right, so my Batman of my era is really from the Cataclysm to the No Man's Land. So there was a huge earthquake in Gotham, and it destroyed most of it, but parts of it were still okay. And it was Batman dealing with the natural, the natural disaster from that. All the government agencies not stepping up and doing what they should have been, the corruption, and then all the crime. Like everything just kind of went. So it was kind of all right, all hands on deck. Let's try to keep everything together. And it was a really neat story until much later in it they were like, and a supervillain caused the earthquake, Quake Master.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, really? It couldn't just be it was a fluke earthquake. Which, yeah, that would have made way more sense. And then you find out that, like, Lex Luthor was behind that, too, because he wanted the real estate for Gotham.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's my era of Batman where, he needs as much help as he possibly can, but just won't ask for it. So he's just a huge jerk. But a little bit before that, they had change-up Green Lanterns. And you talk to some fans now, and you have some people that are Team Hal Jordan, and some that are Team Kyle Rayner. I grew up Team Kyle Rayner.
Okay.
Because, like this is right about when I first started reading Green Lantern comics. And Hal didn't really speak to me. He was just, your standard Joe Average Green
Lantern.
Lantern.
What do you like about Kyle Rayner?
So he was an artist that actually used his imagination for his...
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, as opposed to, we'll make a baseball mitt. Yeah. We'll make a thing. Like, he was like, ooh, I'm going to make a big mecha and we're going to fight that big monster over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as opposed to, here's one boxing glove. Let's just keep doing that.
Yeah, he's like, here's another gun. He's like...
Yeah.
Right, and he would talk to people and hey, how does that work? Like, if I were to make one of those kinds of things, how does that function?
Does he have to make all like the gears inside of everything? Really?
But you don't have to. But like, the more thought you put behind all that, the better it works.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that's kind of the era where they started discussing the differences between the ring users, because it used to be if you have it, you can do whatever, make whatever you want. But with that, like he eventually meets up with John Stewart, and John Stewart talks about how his light constructs were always harder than Hal Jordan's because he was an engineer. He knew the structure behind things and what went into everything, and
wow.
Yeah, it was really, really cool, and there was just so much heart behind the characters, and it was really, really good. Does
Jeff Johns get into that kind of thing, like different?
He expanded on it greatly.
Okay.
I won't fault anyone who likes Hal Jordan from like the Jeff Johns run. Like that's great stuff. He did very well bringing him back and giving him more of a character. But if you were a Hal fan from before, like you like plain white bread superhero, like he has very little personality.
Yeah, that's definitely the corner of the DC universe I've really never like gotten into was the Green Lantern stuff. I just don't even know where to start. Like he'll show up, occasionally in a Justice League stuff, and then I'm like, okay, cool. He's but yeah, it's one place I have not gotten into
Oh
yet.
man, yeah. I'll get you in on the Green Lanterns. There are a couple stories that I just absolutely love, and
It
then
cost me more money.
well, I mean, you're working here right now, so
That's
I mean,
true,
you can borrow some
I got
stuff.
some credit,
Yeah. Let's see. That gets us pretty even. That way, everyone can.
Yeah, I want to hear what you think about that. The new Batman.
The new Batman. So yeah, like my Batman era started with like Scott Snyder stuff. Like right when I started reading Batman, it was I think Death of the Family had just ended. So
Okay.
when I started working here, like I was just going through stuff and I found a stack of all the Death of the Family leading up to where had just started reading. So I got that and then read through it, and it's like very brooding detective Batman a lot. And then I picked up the first 2 trades of Tom King's Batman. And I think the trade after, I think it was the I Am Bane or I Am Suicide. Yeah, and then I just realized because the Batman I was used to was just brooding detective Batman.
Yeah.
And then what I love about Tom King's Batman is like he's getting more into like I actually get to see more about Bruce Wayne, and that's just like I don't like I like the stories, he's brooding and stuff, but then just getting into like actually like seeing his like motivations behind things or like the relationship with Catwoman and stuff, and that stuff's just like it was just so good. And then like. I think I got through up to the Poison Ivy stuff. I was like, I'm just going to read this more in trade. And then they announced the Batman wedding. And then I got the little save the date card that they advertise it. And then I was like, oh man, I probably need to read that. And then so I was in New York City the day that the wedding came out. And so I went to Midtown Comics and I just picked up everything that I had missed. And I was like, now I'm just stuck. I will forever read Tom King Batman.
Have you read Tom King's Mr. Miracle?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I think I'm contractually obligated to talk about that in
You have to.
Planetary.
Yeah.
Every
We have to
show.
talk about
Every
that.
single episode, we
Every
have to
episode,
talk
you have to
about
talk
Mr. Miracle.
Okay, Mr. Miracle's so good. Did you read the last issue?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
I've read all of them.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say because I don't want to ruin anything for anyone.
We try not to
try not to
spoil
spoil
but this one had a lot of Mr. Miracle in it.
It really,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so written by Tom King.
so written by Tom.
Yeah.
So written by Tom. Yep. Yeah, I don't say anything that'll spoil anything, but like my original thoughts, I think what I thought was going on might be coming to pass, but like I think it cleared some things up and just added more confusion.
Turns out he is not the Zodiac killer.
It makes sense,
Yeah.
Was that in
Heck
question?
of a thing. No.
Okay. So I really missed something in those early issues. What comic were you reading?
Yeah. Now I don't know if I talked about Planetary and Mr. Miracle.
I just started reading Planetary.
Oh, really?
I just I think
Yay.
like 4 or 5 issues in. And then I just finished it was like Monster Island.
Yeah.
It's like Dead Godzilla and like Mothra was there, or no, it was Gaigan. And yeah, and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm liking this.
because you see Rodan, Gaigan, King Ghidorah, Mothra.
I was like, is he allowed to do all this?
Well,
like,
but they're all not
it's
those
not
characters.
them, but
Yeah.
definitely them. So,
So you haven't caught up to the not Fantastic Four.
that's gonna come in.
Oh man,
See, it seems like every issue is just like they're dealing with some other kind of like nerdy thing. It's what's going on. It feels like
not to spoil anything, but the not Fantastic Four are the bad guys.
what?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
Not to spoil anything,
Not
but I'm
spoil anything.
totally going to
I'm gonna
spoil
spoil
something.
it.
Well, but I mean,
let me tell you about the Batman wedding. I won't do that. I won't ruin
the way the book is set up, like they're building, like they're introducing you to concepts more and more, and then with one of them, like from that point, it kind of stuck, and that's where they drove.
Yeah.
You know.
So this is actually eventually like a through line through all of it because
Right.
like and it seems like we dealt with this, now we're gonna deal with this. It's just kind of like just
Right.
single episodes, like a like one of those.
It from right about that issue, it becomes that's the story.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
So and I have to tell a lot of people that keep reading for that, because some are like, well, they're fun, but
Yeah.
what of it?
Well, see, I liked it because, like, at first that's what I just thought this was going to be. And I was like, oh, well, this is kind of a fun thing to, like, jump in every once in a while. Like, oh, this is a single. But now the story's going to actually pick up. So,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. So I guess if we're going Batman, let's go complete opposite of Batman. So way back when, like, I'd seen the Dolph Lundgren movie, and as a 7 or 8 year old or whatever, I loved it. So when I finally got my Punisher Warzone,
All right.
oh my god,
Got some John Romita there.
yeah. So
Jr.
John Romita Jr. is kind of an acquired taste, unless he's doing like ground level stuff. Oh my god, it's so good. Yeah. So in the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, there's the scene where he chains the guy upside down and gets out a blowtorch and says, "Oh, I'm going to melt your flesh and do all this other, horrific stuff unless you tell me what's up." So he lights the torch and just kind of sets it down behind him, so the guy hears it and he says, "Well, the feel of melting flesh at this temperature feels cold, and you're going to feel everything run down your back." So he just takes out a popsicle and jabs the guy with it, and as it melts, it's running down his back, and he's like, "Oh man, I've never seen a bleeder like that." And the guy's freaking out. He's like, "Oh my god!" And he spills the beans on everything, and it's good. It's great
ridiculous.
stuff. Yeah, because there are people that just don't get how to write the Punisher. Like, oh, he's a guy with a gun. How hard's that to write?
It's pretty darn hard if you've seen anything or read The Punisher,
Right. Well, because there are times it's here's a story where he's going after a guy. Oh, well, look, he shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not how you do The Punisher.
Yeah, but yeah, the first 2 issues. At least I'm pretty sure it might be the first 3. Let me check to make sure. Yeah, first 2 issues tell one story, and it's so good. Oh my god.
So I think the only Punisher stuff I read Greg Rucka's run with the Punisher, and that was really good. Like, I like that they kind of went in and did a they followed like more like the detective side of thing. And he was just kind of like this force that kind of like showed up every once in a while. I really enjoyed that. And then I read, is it Edmondson?
Yeah.
That's what was really cool. But like sometimes it felt like he was just trying to find like the new creative way to kill someone.
Yeah.
Or just like flipped over a car, used the tire on someone's face, like that kind of thing. I was reading through and I was like, oh my gosh, he was like hit the gas and pushed this guy's face against the tire. And I was like, all right, I think he's just always trying to find new ways. I was like reading through, it's like he's just always trying to find new ways, just like do something crazy. But yeah.
You haven't read the Matt Fraction run on Punisher?
I have not.
Oh man, you need to. So issue 4, we were talking about that, and then someone came in and was like, "I haven't read that issue in years." Oh my god, it's there's the funeral for Stiltman.
Okay.
Is absolutely the best issue of Punisher of all time.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's really, really, really good. You definitely have to read it.
When you're done, you're going to be obsessed with the Gibbon.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
okay.
You're going to be like, did someone just ask what a Gibbon was?
A Gibbon? I don't know what a Gibbon is.
Yeah, Gibbon's a type of monkey.
A monkey?
Ape.
Okay.
If you will. Pardon me.
So we got Stiltman and a Gibbon.
Well, you don't have Stiltman.
Yeah.
I guess he's dead.
You're
Yeah.
pushing up daisies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Poor Stiltman.
Yeah.
I don't think I've read anything with Stiltman.
Well, you will.
Is he alive anymore? Like, did they ever bring Stiltman back? Or is he one of those that actually stayed dead?
So, I think he's still dead, but the suit, since
the suit's running around.
the suit's running. So it's a different Stiltman. There's even a Stilt woman now.
Oh, good.
I mean, there was a Stilt woman before, but yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
All right.
All right, yeah. What else do you have on there?
I got Archie over here. All
Yeah.
right. So I started. Okay. So going along with the Mark Waid stuff, I started reading. Mark Waid's Archie around the time. Like whenever, like I said, I don't remember who it was. But like, you like Mark Waid, and so started reading Archie, and then just an incredible story. Every issue you just laugh and cry, and it's just
and
much of art.
most people don't actually know that Archie more or less restarted.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Like it's not the same comics that have been written since the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They essentially reprint the stories and just change them a little. Like if someone was getting a call from the phone, like they'd use the same story and then just go back through and like redraw the phone.
Yeah.
Or change the look of a TV or throw in a computer in the background.
Yeah, so then they brought in Mark Waid, and then was it Fiona Staples who did those first 3 issues?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they kind of they modernized it. They made Archie like he actually chooses between Betty and Veronica, and that's just the whole thing. I'm very team Archie and Betty right now, but and they actually like get back into like his relationship with Betty going through life, and then so it's like a bunch another again like kind of like with Spider-Man, it's like this relatable story. Kind of like everyone's kind of been through that, like the heartbreaks and all the stuff, and then just kind of cool to actually see Archie choose someone. And then it was also right after I think we had Afterlife with Archie came out before that, right? So yeah, then I was really big on a big Archie like kick. I just needed to read as much Archie as possible. So then I started Afterlife with Archie, then Archie, and then Archie, what was it? Oh, Vampironica. There's only 3 issues out, but love Vampironica, where she becomes a vampire, and she's like kind of like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's or Blade, I think.
Yeah.
Because Blade's half vampire, right?
You're right.
Yeah, so she's like Blade and running around fighting vampires in Riverdale, and then the show Riverdale. It's just you gotta love all that teen drama,
All right.
So at one point, was there a comic where the Predator came?
Yes, Archie versus Predator is just the best thing ever. Because
the Predator's in it.
The Predator's in it, and then because he just goes through and just all these characters everyone loves and loves, he just destroys them. Like by the end of it, a little bit of a spoiler. Jughead doesn't have a spine anymore, so it's
So you're saying that he's kind of a wimp,
or a little bit, I guess.
or he literally doesn't have.
He literally had his spine ripped out.
Oh,
it's like here's
so
Jughead.
You're not saying he's.
It's like here's Jughead and here's Jughead's spine. It's with the skull still attached to it. It's like that kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just crazy. And then Archie at the end, like I don't remember, does he like take some like chemical or something, makes him all big and buff, and he fights
Maybe you
Archie.
shouldn't tell too much.
I won't tell too much. Yeah, but it's just if you haven't read Archie versus Predator, it's the craziest.
I highly recommend.
I highly recommend. Just Archie right now, they're doing something right.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that they went from such a failing comic company like
they really turned it around.
Yeah, because the guy who was running Archie died, and his wife inherited it, and she was like, "I don't know what to do. Hey, fans, what do you all want to see?"
That's really awesome.
Yeah. So they're like, "Well, we want to see more diversity. We want to see people of different colors, people of different backgrounds, orientations, just all sorts of everything." And they said, "Well, we want Archie to choose. We want something to actually happen."
Yeah.
So that's what started off like Kevin Keller, coming out. That's what happened with the marriage of Archie. They did the 2 different stories. Like here he is, he finally married Archie, or
Betty,
or he finally married Veronica. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those did so well that they decided, what if we restarted this?
Right.
And then they were like, "Hey, Mark Waid."
And if you put Mark Waid on anything, he'll just
and it's real smart that they got him because he did the Legion of Superheroes redo, which I mean his love of that got me on a big Legion kick. But he does teen drama so well.
It does. It's so good.
Like Champions.
Yeah, Champions is so good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And then now they're doing Archie like all like the mini series of the Archie stuff that they do. They're doing Archie 1941 now. I'm like a big World War II buff, and like just going through and like seeing like how would Archie have dealt with like this thing. He can, it kind of goes through and he can tell something's going on in the world, and he might have to get involved because he's starts off at the beginning, it's not anything, but like he's graduated from high school, and this is going to be something that he's going to have to deal with, and it's just this really cool story, and just like everyone's like trying to like have fun and stuff. We graduated, but Archie's seeing this thing going on in the world that he feels like he's going to have to take part of, and it's just it's just really good stuff right now.
So it's all about the teen drama still.
It's still teen drama. Like there's some definite because like it's like he has chosen this story. There's a thing going on with Betty and him, and and he's trying to make decisions, and there's heartbreak in this one issue, and it's still just all the teen drama, but then also Archie might have to go off to war. So
that's nuts.
Wow.
And what I'm hoping they're doing is like they're doing 1941, and like I was like, oh, they're gonna do like World War II, and then I'm like, we're gonna see Archie fight, but then I was like, it's 1941. We're gonna get to December, and then the year's gonna be over. So we're probably not gonna get to see Archie like get into the war. Might see him like go sign his name in the list or something. But hopefully, I want Mark Waid to do like 1941, 1942, 1943, and like go through 1945 to see Archie's like life throughout the war, and like how it deals with Riverdale and how it deals with all the different characters. Because I think I'll just buy every issue of it. So it's good.
Well, in the same vein of the teen drama.
Oh, New Warriors, yes.
Yeah. So as a kid, oh my god, I love New Warriors was just so good, and anyone really about your age or younger don't know who they are.
You sold me all, like, I have issues 1 through 50.
Well, I'm just saying,
so, yeah.
typically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then around Marvel now, they did a 50, or not 50, they did like 12 issues of New Warriors.
Right. Yeah. Every 5 to 10 years, they want to maintain that copyright. So we get a new try.
Yeah. That was really good, though, because it was coming off of the Christopher Yost Scarlet Spider, and they had Scarlet Spider in it. And that was a good one.
Yeah. And Darkhawk joined briefly.
Yeah, Darkhawk was in there, so you got I have all that, and Darkhawk shows up because you need more Darkhawk. He's coming back. They just did 4 issues of Darkhawk, and
he fought Death's Head.
He fought Death's Head. Did you
Love
read
Death's
it?
Head. Of course, I read
It
it.
was so good.
It had Death's Head in it.
It had Death's Head, yeah, and then they're gonna do like. They're gonna bring in Sleepwalker and Darkhawk. They're doing the warps thing, and like I think they're gonna get combined and be one person.
That's weird.
They just gotta bring back all the '90s characters. Night Thrasher's gonna probably show up.
Well, maybe his brother.
His brother, is he dead?
Oh yeah. Night Thrasher died in the beginning of Civil War.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You know what's really hot right now?
What?
Him when he blew up.
Oh my! Wow. He's cooled down a little bit. It's been
Yeah.
it's been a while since Civil War happened.
He's cooled off.
It's really sad. This is morbid.
Oh, that's low of me. All right. Do you want me to go next on this?
Sure.
Because you have one more. I'll choose between my other 2 last picks here. So as a kid, I didn't know that comic shops were a thing, so I just got comics at the grocery store or wherever we could find them. So I had to read all the classic X-Men stories reprinted in X-Men Classics, which is really cool now because like you go back through and like we have an Adam Hughes cover and Mike Mignola did a whole bunch of them and like all these really great artists that are huge now were just making their paycheck doing X-Men reprint cover art. And it's just phenomenal now. But like this is how I got to know most of my old comics was through all these Marvel reprints.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, sometimes they'd have like a brand new backup story in them.
So they're doing like all the one issue what are the True Believers?
Yeah,
they just need to do a whole run of them. X-Men comics, True Believers, $1 per thing.
I mean, this stuff has been reprinted so many times.
Yeah.
I don't think that they do a whole series like that anymore.
It'd be so much fun. I'd buy every issue.
I'll sell you the classics real cheap.
Sounds good.
All right, good.
Sounds good.
Deal.
Deal. See, it costs me more money.
Yeah.
Look at you.
All right. So if you want to have that, and then I'll take the final one, then we'll move on.
Sounds good. So Jason Aaron's Thor. So this is the first issue of this. Like I don't know how many number ones. I think there's been 4 number ones in Jason Aaron's run on Thor so far. But I think I picked up the first 2 trades of Jason, the first the Mighty Thor when it came out, and because I hadn't read much Thor before, and heard that was a good place to start. And you get like space sharks shooting lasers. Were there lasers?
I believe there were.
Yeah,
lasers.
they're shooting lasers and space sharks. So I think Jason Aaron's Thor is just it just follows such a huge variety of different kind of stories that you get. You get the Thor trying to figure out what it means to be Thor, and then with the God Butcher and everything. That was such a good story. And then you get into you get a crime through a cop drama for a little bit with Thors, which is just the funniest thing ever. Seeing all the different types of Thors and then trying to figure out where Jane Foster is, and then you get into Jane Foster Thor. I just love the Jane Foster Thor.
Oh yeah,
Thor.
no, his whole run is amazing. He's the one who finally defined what worthy means to be Thor.
Yeah, and then actually getting into going and looking at Jane Foster, just kind of living that out. What does it mean to be the worthy side of things? And
right, because a lot of different people have lifted that hammer. So, what did it mean by worthy, and were they worthy just at that moment, or is it all of their stuff? And he goes through and he defines it, which is really, really nice.
Yeah. So. And then, just I think every team that he's had so far, throughout his run, I don't remember who was doing the Mighty Thor, but then when they did the Jane Foster stuff, they Russell Datterman, just the writing's always been good, the art's always just been incredible, and now they're getting into this new side of things, and they're kind of going back a little bit to at the beginning they were doing with Mighty Thor, they were doing young Thor, old Thor, and then just the current Thor, then kind of getting back into the old Thor and current Thor stuff right now.
Yeah,
and And then I don't want to ruin anything, but that last issue, Buck, you need to read that last issue
I
because that
will.
final page was just crazy.
No, that's the thing. I'm just a little bit behind
A little
on those.
behind, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get Thor in these recent issues.
Thor is so good. Yeah, Thor has a dog now.
His name's Thor. He's the best character ever.
Yeah.
Like, he falls in love with the T-Rex, you know. He's just like, there's a wedding going on, and he just looks over at this dinosaur and he's like, marry me. And then, and then he's always running around like wanting to murder things for Thor because, you know, he's a good, loyal dog. He just wants to murder things. So
Yeah, for Thor, not like
for Thor, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not just randomly murdering things. He's just helping Thor out, but only through the way he knows how is murder.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's just the best dog. I just want an entire Thor-y series.
Yeah, if we don't
Give
get
him
an
a
action
run.
figure about this,
I'll be
like,
very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. So,
Man.
yeah, Jason Aaron's Thor. If you haven't read it, you get Thor-y.
Yeah. Or, you just get the most amazing comics.
Yeah, it's
ever.
so good.
Jason Aaron, like, if you see his name on something, pick it up because you're not going to be disappointed by anything.
Right.
So for my final pick, this team was everything I've wanted of in comics for years. Thunderbolts. So the Masters of Evil noticed that there was this big power vacuum.
I see that.
Yeah, here you go. That there was this big power vacuum right after Onslaught. Like, whoa, no Avengers and Fantastic Four, huh? So they, as supervillains, they put on superhero costumes. And they're like, hey, let's go trick the world into trusting us, and then we'll overthrow the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And, along the way, most of them started enjoying being superheroes more than villains.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really cool seeing, like, some of them still, they want to do good, but, like, they don't want to do all the good. And some people are, like, full-fledged, like, no, I've had it with that life. Let's do this.
You can check that out. It's
Yeah.
Mark Bagley also, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's Kurt Busiek for the first year and a half or so, and then Mark Bagley through most of the series.
Okay. See, I'll read most things with Mark Bagley. So.
Oh, my God, it's so good. Yeah.
I like that it has Baron Zemo in it.
Oh, yeah, well, Baron Zemo leads the team. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Until he doesn't.
Until he does.
Dun
Yeah.
dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's the comics that we've chosen. Why don't we talk about some of the superhero movies that you like? Like, what would you say is your favorite superhero
My favorite one?
Yeah.
It changes like anytime a new Marvel movie comes out, pretty much. So,
That's so hard, isn't it?
it's a hard decision, but I'd have to say, like, I love the Spider-Man movies, but Spider-Man: Homecoming is probably like my favorite.
I love Homecoming.
Yeah, it's such a good movie because it gets into like, I mean, like I think I like the original, like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. I like the Andrew Garfield. That's right.
Yep.
I like those ones, but I just think Spider-Man: Homecoming kind of got the best of both of them, and then kind of went into like when it had like these Spider-Man moments. Like if you're reading through a comic, like after like this like big thing and Peter Parker's down and stuff, and then that moment when he like chooses the right thing even though things have been difficult going through it. And so like Spider-Man: Homecoming just gets that like, I don't know, I heard someone explain it as like the tragedy of being Spider-Man, you know, and it's like like he should be going to that dance, in the Homecoming dance, but then he chooses to be Spider-Man at that moment, and then I think it just definitely Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Fair
is my
enough.
favorite, so.
What's your least favorite?
My least favorite, Spider-Man 3 probably, because it just I don't like when he's like dancing. It's just really cringy.
Yeah.
And he's like, pointing at the girls as he's walking down the street, and it's like,
Do you not do that?
No, I don't.
Jesse.
I know. Maybe I should try. I'm not going to do that.
I'm gonna tell your girlfriend.
I won't do that. That's why I won't. I'm like, hey, Abby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, you're weird.
But she should know that by now.
Yeah, she knows I'm weird.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, good.
Yeah, hopefully by now. Yeah. Otherwise, then one day I'll just be like, "You're weird." I'm like, "Oh, you didn't realize that already?" But yeah, she knows. Definitely Spider-Man 3 is my least favorite.
Fair enough. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to, make sure that we'd cover that. Do you have any other Jesse questions, Stephanie?
Oh my gosh. I wasn't prepared. I
Oh,
don't know.
well, I mean, you don't have to, but, I don't, before we get into the store stories and kind of our history with Jesse.
So, other than Darkhawk, who was your favorite character to be for superhero school?
me think. Who was that? Oh, Carnage was a good one.
Yeah.
I really liked Carnage because like the mask kind of moved and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
That was a good suit.
Carnage. Yeah, we had such a hard time coming up with what we were going to do for Carnage because, we used to ask the kids, hey, this is the next superhero school.
Oh,
who do you definitely want to see? And like all the kids were like Carnage. We're like, how are we going to make that kid friendly?
And it was like, so we just decided I am a serial killer, Captain Crunch, Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and then the stinger joke at the end was I hide the cereal boxes in the basement.
yeah.
Yeah, but what's funny is a couple months later, this mom comes up to me in the grocery store, and she says, "You do the superhero school, right? Like you're in charge of that, and you do all the." I was like, "Yeah, thank you. You're welcome." My son loves Carnage, and now he eats breakfast.
Amazing. I'm glad I could help that kid out.
Yeah. Yeah, she was like, he wouldn't eat breakfast, and now he's like, Mom, I'm a serial killer. Look, I'm killing my tricks.
Gosh.
And
It's the little things,
Yeah, it was that's wonderful.
I'm sorry that your kid is saying he's a serial killer.
Well, but like she made sure and told me, hey, here's the times that you can say that, and here's what it really means, that kind of stuff. But she was like, that was brilliant how you all handled it, and thank you all so much for doing that.
Okay.
So it was So well done, Jesse.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I can help out.
Yeah. So Carnage, huh?
Carnage was good. Darkhawk was good. Who else was? I was Hobgoblin once. That was pretty good. I definitely have I don't know if we're getting into store stories. I guess we're going that way.
We're edging into it.
I have a least favorite.
Yeah,
for sure. Bruce Banner.
Okay. So you were pretty much the only planned person for that Hulk superhero school because we had asked Joe to supply us with the biggest, buffest dude he knew, and we ended up with Dre, who is shorter than you.
Yep.
Yeah.
He shrinks. He just condenses.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's wider than you. But he was shorter. So and at the time you were still just terrified. You were still in the early days of working here, and I knew that I needed to throw you in front of people and kind of get you more used to talking to people. That would help you.
Even leading up to it, though, you asked me to go get the pants.
Yeah.
And you're I'm where do I get purple pants? I've never seen guys with purple pants. Just go to the lady section. You want to go to the lady section and buy pants? I'm like, that's so weird. I'm holding up to me and I'm hi. And then so yeah, even there was anxiety leading up to the whole thing.
Right. And that's one of those situations that I knew throwing you into would help beat that too. Any chance that I can mildly embarrass you kids.
Yeah,
we do. Because it
definitely
in the long run, it definitely helps you.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, because you learn how to deal with all that on that small scale. That when something actual big comes, I know how to deal with that because I dealt with it.
Well, and definitely I don't know, just all the crazy things you did to me throughout this time definitely prepared me. Went to college, I would before then I would never get in front of people, but then I actually tried acting in college. I did a play once in college, and so I would never have done that before had it not been for things like superhero school.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just wouldn't have gone in front of people and done that. So, yeah.
Well, cool.
I could dress up and look goofy for a time, and just because I'd done it before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's cool.
But Bruce Banner.
Yeah. So with your Bruce Banner, I'd given you some little talking points hey, the kids are probably going to be a little bit rowdy, so just every time they talk, just get more angry, and then when you build up and when you go into the back room, slam the door as hard as you can, and then our guys, the Hulk, will walk out. They're that's going to be great. So we had the most well-behaved kids we've ever had. Mm-hmm. All of them sat quietly and were very pleasant and happy to be there, and they raised their hand anytime they had something to talk.
Absolutely zero reason to get angry or yell at these kids.
There was no reason to get any kind of angry. And you just stuck with the material given because I was anytime someone asks a question, just scream out, "Don't interrupt!"
Right, and then
so this sweet little girl was just pardon me, Mr. Banner. You
don't interrupt. A terrible human being.
Yeah, and she was just I'm sorry. I have a question, please.
Bruce Banner's real problem is he just doesn't like kids.
Yeah. So she asked a question, and then you either blanked or something. You're like, I'm just getting so angry.
It was more like, I'm so angry.
Yeah. and then you casually walked to the back door. Remember that you were supposed to be storming off. Opened the door, slammed it as hard as you could, and then went over to Dre, who was back there as Hulk. You're like, you're up. And he lost all motivation. He was like, all right.
Not my best moment in superhero school.
Yeah, well, it was your very first
It's my
moment,
first
so, you know.
moment, so.
Yeah.
I didn't have a mask to hide me. It was just out in the open wearing purple lady pants. So
Listen, and most people should know that a lot of superhero school costumes are women's clothing that we've altered.
yeah.
Because it form fits better.
Yeah.
Like guy armpits are way low compared to where the girl armpits are. Yeah, that kind of thing. So, interesting. Well, what would you say your favorite store moment is?
Let me think. My favorite store moment. There's just a lot of bizarre store moments, really. Like, hey Jesse, climb up in the. I guess was it the.
That's one of my favorite.
The office had gotten locked.
Yeah, someone locked the office, which we didn't have the key for. So we were either going to get a locksmith or, I knew that the wall over it didn't have.
Like it didn't go all the way up to the ceiling.
Right.
Or,
yeah. Like there's blockage between the things, but like just for that room, it's open.
Yeah.
Because I knew that we had run wire over it. Yeah. So I was like, Jesse, if you really want, you can get in the ceiling and crawl through and
so that
crawl
was great.
over.
I worked my way up. I think I was just crawling up boxes and stuff, trying to get to the top of the ceiling, and then opening up the top. It was like a cool Spider-Man moment. I gotta crawl through the ceiling and stuff.
And I tell people, yeah, Jesse's been through the ceiling. They're like, how is that possible?
Well, yeah, I've been up there. So, I came out with a couple of scrapes and stuff, but, it was funny. And then, kind of crawling back over onto the other side, I'm like, all right, I guess I just have to drop now. So, yeah, that was a good moment. I don't know, sometimes you'd make me, I'm like, oh, but can I get this? And you're like, sometimes you, do this, really weird thing, and you just give it to me. There was a stack of Marvel Knight Spider-Man. There's, 12 issues of it. And you're have it, braid your hair. All of it.
Oh yeah,
give me the comic.
Yeah. We had some customers that Coolio braided your hair.
Yes, and then
which I should have pictures here. We can
get. Oh, okay, cool. I was like, where are they? I don't see them. Technology.
Yeah.
All right. So and then friends now since then will you're like, oh, and then we'll be sitting around there's the time where you're hanging out with your friends and then you pull up their Facebook just to look at funny old pictures of them. For me, it's they find that and they're like, what's going on here, Jesse? There's just one picture. There's one picture. I'm not, but it looks like I'm just really high. You're just I'm not at the time because I was with this crazy hair. And I'm like, I did it for comics, It was for the comics.
Yeah.
And then you had me eat. I didn't like mushrooms. You had me eat mushroom pizza for a couple comics and stuff. You're like, you can get them if you eat this mushroom pizza. It's just the worst.
What's your stance on mushrooms now?
I still don't like them.
Oh,
I think I like them less because it wasn't a warm pizza either. It was just kind of cold. So it was cold pizza with mushrooms on it. It was just.
I'll make you some mushrooms.
No, thank you. It was a bad experience. Traumatized.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so that was a good store experience. Steve threw me into the snow one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? So I don't remember why. I just think
probably because he could.
He just picked me up and threw me.
Yeah.
Over his shoulder. One armed,
because
right
he's
into the snow.
a giant.
Because he's a giant.
Yeah, he just because he could.
Yeah, he's showing his power.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's Superman, so he's Superman just throws kids around. That makes sense. Kid.
So probably my favorite Jesse moment, and we'll end it with this one, was when we were doing an Avengers Day. And I wanted to fill the cast out. And you said, Buck, would it be possible for us to do Dark Hawk?
Yes.
And I said, you know what, Jesse, for you, yes.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And you were just like, oh, my God, really? Really? Oh, my God. Can I have this? Can I have this? Oh, my God, do I get wings? Oh, my God. Do I get...
I didn't get wings.
Did I get wings? No,
got
yeah, I
wings.
did have wings. Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
made you
did.
wings. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you hated them.
They were okay. The mask though was really good. I still have it sitting in my room, so I have like a Dark Hawk helmet sitting there. And
The mask and the gym looked really good.
Yeah, it
the
looked
other
really
stuff ended up looking a little thrown together because I didn't make it while
Yeah.
it was while
then
you
my
were here.
my neck was kind of showing. So
Yeah.
you know.
We've improved upon.
We've improved, yeah.
But most of the people couldn't say Dark Hawk.
Yep.
It sounded like well, if you say Dark Hawk, real quick
Without
together.
enunciating.
Yeah.
I enunciate very well because of
Yes.
this.
Yeah, we it becomes not as
This is a children's show. but-
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So
Not as family friendly.
yeah,
Yes.
we joked for your superhero school that you'd have Dark and Hawk written on
Dark. Yeah, on the
on two
comic
pieces of
boards,
paper.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we were like, oh, it'd be even funnier if you got them backwards and you were Hawk Dark.
I am Hawk Dark. Let's
Yeah.
make it safe. The kids show, you know.
Right.
Hawk Dark.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was a good time.
It was. It went incredibly well. And then you know what? We'll save it for next time. But the rivalry between you and Zach.
Oh
When
yes.
we were working here, yeah. There's the duct tape challenge, and then more importantly, there was the time that he was trying to be Scorpion, and you wouldn't let him stand up.
Oh, when I just kept. Oh, I remember that. Just kept pushing, pulling down.
It was the first time that you ever really showed initiative.
Yeah, when I was coming
Like,
out of my
I'm
shell a
Yeah,
little bit.
dominant.
You're finally coming out of your shell, and you just kept laying him back down, just gently like pulling him down, or
Yes.
yeah,
Oh my.
it was amazing. All right, well, tell you what, we'll have that wrap us up. Thank you all for listening. Jesse, thanks for being part of this.
Thank you for having me.
Stephanie, thank you as always. And Brad, thanks for running this shindig for us.
You're very welcome.
Yes, Brad Reed from Nerds to
Brad
Men.
Reed from Nerds to Men fame. Thanks. I've been Buck Berlin for New World Comics Podcast.